International Video Network welcomes you to Taiwan, the Republic of China. This unique island is a showcase of one of the oldest and most culturally accomplished civilizations in the world. Taiwan offers an experience of traditional Chinese culture and lifestyles, draped elegantly over a bustling modern society. Enter the land of the people of the dragon, Taiwan, exotic blossom of the Orient. Taiwan is on the Pacific Rim in the East China Sea, about 120 miles east of mainland China and 220 miles north of the Philippines. The island is about twice the size of the state of New Jersey, with a population of more than 19 million people. Taiwan's rich and colorful history dates back 10,000 years to the early Aborigines, who are believed to have come to the island from Malaysia and Indonesia. Remnants of these tribes remain in Taiwan today, and some still practice and preserve the traditions of their ancestors. To the ancient settlers who sailed to Taiwan from mainland China, it was Bao Dao, Treasure Island. For centuries, tales of vast riches, fertile land, and resources drew a constant stream of traders and merchants, farmers and fishermen, pirates and political refugees from the crowded coastal provinces of China. Portuguese sailors called Taiwan Isla Formosa, meaning beautiful island. Because of its natural resources and strategic location, countries including Holland, Spain, and Japan would at various times occupy Taiwan and claim it as their own territory. But through the centuries, Chinese culture has taken root in Taiwan, and the island has been developed with a Chinese sensitivity to aesthetics and the rhythms of nature. The new Chiang Kai-shek Airport is the modern gateway to Taiwan and is located just outside of the island's largest city, Taipei. China Airlines, Taiwan's national carrier, serves destinations around the world. Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, is a modern, sprawling metropolis. At first glance, the towers of glass and steel and the heavily trafficked streets give the appearance of a large westernized city. But the mystique of this country is the way in which modern structures and ideas have been smoothly integrated into a very traditional Chinese culture. Taipei's most famous hotel and one of the distinguishing landmarks of the city is the Grand Hotel. Built in the classical imperial style of Old China, the palatial facade is crowned by the largest classical Chinese roof in the world. From a ridge at the north end of the city, the Grand Hotel provides lovely views of Taipei. Not far from the Grand Hotel is the National Revolutionary Martyrs Shrine. Built in the style of the Ming Dynasty, the shrine is dedicated to the fallen heroes of China's wars. The names of those being honored are inscribed on plaques, and murals recall their heroic feats. A visit to this shrine should be planned so as not to miss the changing of the guard, which occurs on the hour throughout the day. One of the most important and most impressive attractions in Taiwan is the National Palace Museum. The museum houses what many art historians consider to be the finest collection of Chinese art in the world, over 640,000 pieces. The curators continually rotate new exhibitions into display and store the remainder of this mammoth collection in burglar and bomb-proof vaults tunneled into the mountain behind the museum. However, the real story of this unique collection is the incredible odyssey which brought it to Taiwan. The finest masterworks of Chinese art were packed and loaded onto handcarts and taken by train out of Beijing ahead of the invading Japanese in 1933. For 16 years, these priceless treasures were carried to the most remote reaches of war-torn China. After the war, on the eve of the communist victory, the most valuable art objects were selected from the 20,000 cases and removed from the mainland altogether to their present home in Taiwan. The epilogue to this extraordinary bit of history is that in all that time, through thousands of miles of natural and man-made dangers, not a single item was lost or damaged. Mr. Qin Xiaoyi, Director of the National Palace Museum.
On an emotional level, the National Palace Museum is a focal point for Chinese people all over the world. The cultural and historical value of the art draws us together.
Shopping may be one of the island's biggest attractions for foreign visitors. In Taipei, the best shopping bargains are the local products, from clothes or handicrafts to toys and calculators. At places like the China Ceramics Factory in suburban Peitou, visitors can enjoy a behind-the-scenes tour of the workshop and gain a first-hand knowledge of why Taiwan is an international center for the production and sales of porcelain. The Chinese invented the art of firing and glazing fine porcelain, and the classical shapes, painting, colors, and glazes are carefully reproduced by these highly skilled workers.
In ancient China, they don't have so many colors, so they just use black and white. And in the Ming Dynasty, they can use a cobalt blue, so we call those designs blue and white. And in the Qing Dynasty, they can use a very colorful pigments, I think. So the floral designs are very colorful and brilliant. For example, the floral designs means togetherness, and the dragon and the phoenix design means a happy marriage, and the chrysanthemum means longevity. Today, in this place, we are continuing the rich Chinese tradition of pottery making, and this art is part of our culture and has special meaning to our people.
For a different kind of shopping experience, the public markets offer more local color. Qing Kuang is an outdoor covered market brimming over with foods and products, some of which defy description. The exotic ambience may be startling to some, but despite appearances, the food in these markets is fresh and safe to eat. Culinary cleanliness is a revered Chinese tradition. In fact, the only activity in Taiwan to rival shopping in popularity is eating, and the island's restaurants do a brisk business. The Chinese are passionate about the preparation and eating of their food. Chinese cuisine is grounded in a philosophy developed by herbal pharmacologists and physicians during the Tang Dynasty over 1,000 years ago. they divided foods into categories based on their physiological effects, the yin and yang of quantities and combinations of food preparation. Ginger, lamb, garlic, and chilies are examples of yang or hot foods that stimulate the body and expend its energies. Asparagus, seafood, cabbage, and turnips are yin or cool foods that calm and nourish the system. Individual ingredients in complete meals are designed to balance the body's vital energies. Although some of these dishes look like they've been brought over from the National Palace Museum, every single element in these artistic creations is edible. Mr. Saiji Chang of the Asia World Plaza Hotel is one of the many master chefs who came to Taiwan from the mainland over 30 years ago.
I learned the art of cooking from Chinese masters. They teach that the presentation of food is as important as its preparation. In addition to cooking, I learned flower arranging, observed sculptors and engravers of wood, and studied photographs and sketches of animals. Color, taste, fragrance. You must combine all three to properly prepare and present food.
One of the most imposing buildings in Taipei is the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall. Dedicated in 1980 on the 5th anniversary of the death of the late president, the memorial makes a bold statement of strength as it rises out of the landscape grounds to a height of 250 feet. The hall contains a bronze statue of Chiang Kai-shek, with exhibition halls dedicated to the late president on the floor below. The 62-acre park surrounding the memorial is a popular place to spend a sunny afternoon, even for newlyweds. The other impressive memorial in Taipei is dedicated to Chiang Kai-shek's mentor, Dr. Sun Yat-sen, founder of the Republic of China. Interestingly enough, Sun Yat-sen is also recognized on the mainland as a founder of modern China and is the only political figure revered by both of the rival regimes. After the workday, the landscape grounds outside the memorial are usually filled with parents and children, enjoying the open space and the playful atmosphere. The martial arts are studied by people of all ages in Taiwan. These physical disciplines are rooted in ancient philosophies that have been passed from master to disciple in traditions that go back to the beginnings of Chinese culture. Today, masters such as Sifu Lo Man Kam instruct many foreign students like this Swiss contingent that has come to Taiwan to study with him. At 5 a.m. every day, the city parks of Taiwan are filled with people stretching, aerobic dancing, and practicing martial arts exercises like Tai Chi. This commitment to health through physical fitness is an essential part of Chinese culture. The center of political power in Taiwan is the Presidential Building, the administrative headquarters of the nationalist government. The plaza in front is one of the focal points of the annual festive celebration during the Double Tens, October 10th, the 10th day of the 10th month, the country's national day. While other peoples have discarded their traditions and cultural identity to enter into the 20th century, the people of Taiwan seem to have made this giant leap like a graceful dancer. One of the forces of Chinese culture that has made this possible is the vitality of traditional religion. Popular Chinese folk religion is a fascinating blend of ancestor worship, animism, Confucian customs, and the beliefs and practices of both Taoism and Buddhism. This tapestry of disparate threads is woven together without any worry about contradictions or the need for rational reconciliation. Although Taiwan has separate Buddhist, Taoist, and Confucian temples, as well as a host of folk religion shrines, most Taiwanese feel comfortable worshiping in any of these holy places. The oldest and most famous temple in Taipei is Longshan, dedicated to Taiwan's patron deities, Kuan Yin and Ma Tzu. The ambience of these temples is anything but solemn. Longshan, meaning Dragon Mountain, takes its name from the number of dragons that perch high on its roof. The ornate craftsmanship of gods and legendary heroes, animals and mythological creatures all serve to bring good fortune and keep away evil from the shrine and the community. Longshan is famous for what its devotees say was a miracle that occurred on June 8, 1945. The venerable monk Hui Ying talks about his harrowing experiences on that day when Allied aircraft attacked Taipei, then under Japanese rule.
Bombs rained down on Longshan Temple, and although we are Buddhists, as Chinese we also have other gods, among whom is Kuan Yin, goddess of mercy. Many of our people took refuge in this temple. I believe that Kuan Yin protected us. Although the temple was severely damaged, Kuan Yin was unharmed, and no one taking refuge in the temple was killed.
Only a short taxi ride across town takes us to the Temple of Confucius, the great teacher and sage whose philosophy of social harmony has had the most profound effect on Chinese culture over the last 2,000 years. But there are no crowds here saying prayers or making offerings. This temple is tranquil by comparison to Taipei's other, more active shrines. The gardens and courtyards are quiet gathering places for contemplation, discussion, or even a little music. The opening lines of the Analects of Confucius read, "When friends visit from afar, is this not indeed a pleasure?" These disarmingly simple lines established hospitality as the cornerstone of Chinese social etiquette. In Taipei, there are literally thousands of restaurants, bars, and clubs that drive the pulse of activity into the night. At some clubs, lavish banquets include a broad range of floor show entertainment. For more exotic evening fare, there is always the night market not far from the Longshan Temple. Western visitors know this market by the name Snake Alley. These snakes are not, however, sold as pets. After a customer chooses a snake, the reptile, while still alive, is strung on a wire, stretched out, and cut open. This gruesome act does, however, have a purpose, For it is believed that drinking the blood and bile of these snakes mixed with other spirits and herbs improves vision, wards off fatigue, and enhances male virility. Vendors in Snake Alley sell other unusual items, many of which are ground up and used in herbal potions or medicines. And if you're curious about the rest of your trip or your life, pull up a chair in front of one of the many Chinese fortune tellers. Another late-night attraction is the Shilin Market just north of the Grand Hotel. The pungent smells of the richly spiced wok-fried delicacies can seduce even the squeamish. Up the mountain just north of Taipei is Yangming National Park, with trees and bubbling brooks that can provide a welcome escape from the pace of the big city. Another special place near Taipei is Lake Benevolence, just south of the city. While the lake and surrounding forests reflect the quiet beauty of the island's countryside, the site is famous as the temporary resting place of the late President Chiang Kai-shek. The Chinese await the day when the political situation will allow his sarcophagus to be returned to his birthplace on the mainland. Further south in the same vicinity is Window on China, an elaborate display park all in miniature. In intricate detail, the models demonstrate the different styles and characteristics of life in various periods of Chinese history. The park is the culmination of 10 years of work on the part of scholars, artists, and craftsmen. The 69 models are divided into 3 categories. Modern constructions, including major national projects, such as the electrified rail system. An exhibit of contemporary society, showing important civic and historical monuments. And historical landmarks, including a selection of famous sites from mainland China. The models provided diminutive but effective sampling of the Chinese heritage and creative accomplishments. From here, we take the Sun Yat-sen National Freeway to Taiwan's northernmost city, the port of Keelung. The port is the second largest on the island, and its extensive facilities handle almost 35 million tons of freight a year. The best vantage point from which to see the city is Chungcheong Park. At the crest of the hill is the nearly 100-foot-tall statue of Kuan Yin, the goddess of mercy, who watches over the city. In addition to the port trade and related industries, fishing is a source of livelihood for many people in Keelung and the surrounding fishing villages. One of the big attractions of the North Coast is its many beautiful beaches. Although near Taipei, the long stretches of white sand permit swimming, sunbathing, beach and water sports without the crush of big crowds. Just up the coast from Keelung is Yeliu, where an unusual rocky headland has emerged as one of the most popular natural attractions on the island. Wind, sand, and sea have combined to carve huge coral and sandstone sculptures from the rock beds. The so-called Queen's Head rock reigns majestically over the dune, like the ancient Egyptian queen Nefertiti. On sunny days, the sculpted rock garden makes a wonderful setting for hiking and family picnics as part of a day trip from Taipei. For more man-made recreation, the nearby Taiwan Golf and Country Club features one of the top golf courses on the island. Traveling south from Taipei, the scenery changes dramatically. Leaving the modern urban topography, central Taiwan features a diverse landscape of green rice fields, small farms and lush plantations of sugarcane, bananas, tea, and other crops. From Taichung and Chiayi, the industrial cities along the fertile western plain, we visit 3 sites that typify the natural beauty and scenic diversity of central Taiwan. Our first stop is the lovely holiday resort, Sun Moon Lake. Located in the western foothills of the Central Mountains, the poetically named lake is circled by a scenic highway and is entirely surrounded by dense foliage. A number of hotels overlook the lake, offering extraordinary views. Heading east and south around the lake leads to the Wunwu Temple. The entrance to this Taoist shrine is guarded by the largest stone lions in Asia. The temple is built into the hill in 3 ascending levels and is dedicated to Confucius and the 2 great warrior deities, Quan Kung and Yue Fei. On the western side of the lake, the 9-tiered pagoda of filial virtue provides a steep and winding challenge. Appropriately, the reward for reaching the top is a breathtaking view of the scenic resort. Not far from Sun Moon Lake is Tungting Mountain, which produces what is regarded as Taiwan's best tea. Tea drinking is a part of Chinese culture. Aside from promoting better digestion, the Chinese feel that tea stimulates the mind and is aesthetically pleasing. Many Chinese savor and discriminate quality and vintage of tea in the same way that Western connoisseurs evaluate wine. In the villages of central Taiwan, the tea ceremony is performed in a more rustic setting. After the tea leaves are cleaned and separated, they are placed in a miniature red clay pot, which is filled with boiling water. The seeping tea is then poured into small cups. But the tea is not yet of suitable flavor for drinking, and while the cups have been warmed, the tea is not used. By the second steeping, the tea is ready and is transferred into a more decorative pot and then poured for drinking. The process will be repeated several times until the leaves are spent. Each pouring produces a subtly different flavor which is savored by the drinker. There are 3 important experimental forests in these mountains, and the most interesting is the Zito Bamboo Forest. The 6,000-acre forest research station is operated by National Taiwan University, and it provides Taiwan with 40% of the island's supply of raw bamboo and bamboo products. Paved footpaths amidst the many varieties of bamboo make the forest a favorite spot for hikers and campers. Some of the mountains that rise from the mists of the Central Range are among the highest in Asia east of the Himalaya. While clouds and rain are associated with ominous and dreary feelings in Western culture, these elements are considered lovely and vital here and symbolize the mating of heaven and earth in ancient lore. According to legend, on a journey to Mount Wu, the king of Sichuan grew tired during the day and fell asleep. In a dream, a beautiful woman came to him, identified herself as Lady of Mount Wu, and said, "Having heard that you have come here, I wish to share pillow and couch with you." As the lovers parted, the woman told the king, "At dawn, I am the morning clouds. In the evening, I am the pouring rain. Every morning and night, I hover about these hills." In art, poetry, and literature, the clouds and rain symbolize the vital essences of man and woman. The most popular alpine resort in this range is Mount Ali, or Ali Shan. Every morning, buses take visitors from their hotels at 4 a.m. to view the spectacular sunrise from Celebration Peak. Uncertain if the clouds and mist will permit the event to be seen, the anticipation builds as the rays of light streak over the horizon, blazing messengers of the coming dawn. Heading to or from Alishan, many people stop at Wufeng Temple to pay their respects to the loyal Lord Wufeng. Wufeng was an 18th century Chinese official who studied Aboriginal customs and languages and was the official interpreter and liaison between the often feuding Chinese settlers and Aborigine tribes. In an attempt to eliminate the Aborigine practice of headhunting as a part of the harvest sacrifice to their gods, one year Wufeng told his Aborigine friends that their gods would be appeased if they took the head of a rider wearing a red hood and cape on a white horse. When the deed was done, the Aborigines removed the red cowl to discover that the man they had killed was their friend Wufeng. His act of self-sacrifice so powerfully affected the Aborigines that they agreed to ban the headhunting practice forever. The temple is dedicated to Wufeng and a commitment to peace and mutual understanding among all peoples. Southern Taiwan is dominated by two very different coastal cities. Tainan is the cultural center of the island, while Kaohsiung is a major industrial and economic showcase. Tainan is among the oldest cities on the island and served as its capital until the end of the 19th century. It is appropriate to begin any tour of Tainan at the shrine of the Chinese hero who captured Taiwan from the Dutch in the 17th century. Koxinga was a Ming Dynasty loyalist who commanded the remnants of the Ming army against the overwhelming strength of the Manchu forces on the mainland. When forced to retreat to Taiwan, Koxinga encountered the Dutch, who ruled Taiwan with the strength of their navy and a series of coastal fortifications. In 1661, Koxinga sailed down the coast from Tainan with 30,000 men and attacked the Dutch. Koxinga defeated the Dutch and graciously permitted the governor and his surviving men to leave the island. But Koxinga was a man who understood and appreciated the importance of Chinese culture and initiated a cultural renaissance on Taiwan. Chin Khan Towers were built on the site of the old Dutch fort, Providentia, which the local Chinese had called the Tower of Red-Haired Barbarians. Koxinga subsequently made it his administrative headquarters, and today it is a lovely park and historic monument. The towers are a favorite site for the city's younger generation to learn about their heritage and develop their artistic skills. Some Chinese art forms defy description and simply must be experienced firsthand. Chinese opera bears little resemblance to opera as we know it in the West. From its spare set pieces to its extravagant costumes and richly stylized makeup, the Chinese opera is a unique blend of song, dance, mime, and acrobatics. The stories are drawn from popular legends and folklore, and the highly visual presentation makes them easily understood without knowledge of the language. Another aspect of Chinese culture that is becoming more familiar to the West is the Chinese medical therapy of acupuncture. This practice is based on a series of vital points along the body's network of life energy, what the Chinese call qi. Circulation of the blood is the road on which the qi travels to all parts of the body. When there is something wrong with any part of the body, thin steel needles are inserted at the correct pressure points, and the circulatory system gradually begins to correct itself. Although the insertion of the needles appears painful, patients report nothing more than the feeling of being pricked and a slight tingling near the insertion. Many acupuncturists also use the fire needle method, in which substances, such as fresh garlic and ginger, are placed on the exposed ends of the needle and lit on fire. The heat is reputed to carry a medicinal strength which flows through the body. While physicians in the West question how acupuncture works, many acknowledge its effectiveness in treating certain disorders. The Kaiyuan Monastery is one of the oldest Buddhist monasteries on the island. Koshinga's son built the shrine during the 17th century and dedicated it in memory of his mother. The smiling Milofo, or Happy Buddha, sits in the central shrine hall, surrounded by his fierce celestial guards. Kaohsiung is the island's largest international seaport, with the world's second-largest dry dock and fifth-largest container port. Longevity Mountain Park provides a good vista of the city and its huge port facilities. Kaohsiung is a city of humble origins, where people have farmed the land as their ancestors had done for thousands of years. Today, only vestiges of this old agricultural economy remain among the towering smokestacks of heavy industry. But Kaohsiung is making a concerted effort to develop and attract high-technology industries, such as semiconductor manufacturers. While traditional ocean fishing is a big business in Kaohsiung, fish pond farming is booming, and miles of these ponds stretch along the coast from Kaohsiung down to the southern tip of the island. A number of scenic attractions lie within a short driving distance of Kaohsiung. Lotus Lake is the site of some lovely examples of traditional Chinese architecture. The Spring and Autumn Pavilion has a highly decorative entrance, which requires passage through the jaws of a large dragon sculpture in order to reach the causeway, which leads to a small island supporting the pavilion. For those who enjoy making dramatic entrances and exits, there are the 7-tiered dragon and tiger pagodas. Further northeast of Kaohsiung, amidst the lush tropical countryside, is the central Buddhist monastery on Taiwan, Fo Kuang Shan, or Light of Buddha Mountain. The monastery is renowned for its magnificent statue of the Buddha. At 105 feet tall, it is the tallest image of Buddha on the island. The large statue is surrounded by 480 smaller Buddha images. Indoor and outdoor areas seem to blend into one another, and there is a wonderful sense of peace and serenity.
Buddha had different responses to people asking about metaphysical questions. One time, a person asked Buddha about such metaphysical questions such as whether the world is finite or infinite, and whether the Buddha will is alive after his physical body is after he died. And what Buddha said to him was that a person who asks metaphysical questions like this, they are just like a person who was being shot by a poisoned arrow. And instead of allowing the doctor to pour out the arrow for him, he insisting on asking about who shot him, where he is from, what is his name, what is the arrow made out of, and all these questions. And Buddha said, a person who asks metaphysical questions is just like a man like this. He will die long before he could find an answer to all these questions.
Enshrined within the precious hall of great heroes are 3 Buddha images in different stages of meditation. Every inch of wall space in this, the major shrine hall, is divided into small compartments which contain thousands of small illuminated Buddhas. Other halls reflect a variety of themes of the teaching of the Buddha. At the very southern tip of Taiwan is a small 2-pronged peninsula that harbors unspoiled beachfront. In the hills above the peninsula lies the exotic Kenting National Park. In 1906, the Japanese began importing rare species of plants from all over the world and planting them in the rich soil of what has since become Kenting National Park. The Chinese have since added to the collection so that today there are more than 1,200 species growing in this well-kept park, stretching over 18.5 square miles. Caves, gorges, and interesting rock formations add to the visual delight. At the very tip of the cape is the Old Ranbi Lighthouse, a landmark built in the 1880s. There is a lovely area around the lighthouse for leisurely strolling or picnicking, and a small white sand beach for swimmers and sunbathers. Our visit to eastern Taiwan features the breathtaking Taroko Gorge, the city of Hualien, and the native Aboriginal culture. The eastern coast, isolated from the rest of Taiwan by the Central Mountain Range, remains a refuge for the old island culture and lifestyle. Made up of charming, sleepy fishing villages and small farms, the pace of life here is slower and less affected by the industrial and commercial developments of the Western Plains. The East Coast Highway overlooks one of the most stunning seaboard vistas in the world. The road is a narrow strip carved into the massive mountain cliff face, a half-mile up between the sky and sea. The perpendicular adventure heightens after dark. Shafts of moonrise pierce the sea. This source of light, dodging the windswept clouds, leaves the highway traffic suspended between heaven and earth. Most visitors take the East Coast Highway or the new railway that connects Taipei and Hualien to tour the magnificent Taroko Gorge. Taroko means beautiful in a local Aborigine dialect, and most visitors realize the measure of understatement in that name. A marble-walled canyon with its torrential Liwu River winds and twists for 12 miles from the coast to its upper end at Tianxiang. Along the way, we see the Shrine of the Eternal Spring, dedicated to the 450 retired servicemen who lost their lives building this road. Another scenic point, the Tunnel of Nine Turns, a series of tunnels and half-tunnels through solid marble cliffs, is an engineering feat of immense scope and daring. The gorge ends at Tianxiang, where overnight lodging and food are available. A graceful suspension bridge near the lodge leads to an exquisite 7-tiered Buddhist pagoda. The tons of marble that are mined out of the cliffs and crevices of Taroko Gorge are a big part of the claim to fame of the city of Hualien. The marble-crafted items appear all over the city and are very popular among visiting shoppers. While Hualien has many marble temples, the Taoist Hall of Motherly Love was built before the discovery of marble in the region and is sculpted entirely of stone. However, in the temple annex, called the Palace of the Jade Emperor, marble was used extensively. The rugged country of eastern Taiwan is the home of the remnants of the island's indigenous Aborigine tribes. Some tribes continue to pursue their tribal cultural development outside mainstream Chinese society. The largest Aborigine tribe, the Ami, number around 60,000 and live in Hualien. In late July and August, during their annual harvest celebration, the Ami perform authentic traditional dances in full tribal regalia. Since Marco Polo first brought back word of the wonders of the Orient, China has held a certain fascination for Western people. Through the years, traveling to China involved a rugged ordeal, only open to adventurers and seasoned travelers. With the development of the Republic of China on Taiwan, an experience of 50 centuries of Chinese culture is available in a society where the ancient ethic of hospitality is clothed in the most comfortable of contemporary accommodations. To Western sensibilities, Taiwan is a wonderful enigma, a delicate harmony of intriguing contradictions. One of the world's oldest and most accomplished civilizations, embracing folk remedies and the wisdom of the ancients. A land of boundless energy and a thriving economy, alongside the ways of the distant past. A vibrant flower in the East China Sea. Taiwan, exotic blossom of the Orient.
International Video Network brings you the greatest adventures in video entertainment. Award-winning documentaries from Reader's Digest, exploring the masterworks of man and nature. Travel planning videos from Fodors, revealing looks at the people, places, and cultures of the world. Rand McNally Video Expeditions, taking you to some of the most remote and dangerous places on Earth. Rand McNally Video Travelers, whirlwind tours you can enjoy from the comfort of your living room. Super Cities, celebrating the best-loved cities of the world. And Video Visits, whisking you away to exotic, romantic, and popular destinations. International Video Network. Great adventures in video. See your local video retailer or call International Video Network at 1-800-669-4486, extension 850 for your free catalog, featuring more than 250 travel, documentary, and special interest videos.